everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. At the time of filming, I am less than 1 week out from the start of my biggest ever ultramarathon, my biggest ever challenge quite possibly. I'm going to be running 4 marathons in 4 days out in Croatia to raise money for the Tribe Freedom Foundation. The Tribe Freedom Foundation, just to go over it a little bit, they help prevent modern day slavery and provide support for victims of modern day slavery and sex trafficking, and the work that they do is absolutely incredible. I have spoken to the founders of the Tribe Freedom Foundation several times and I'm so impressed with what they do, and my goal is to raise £3,000 for them in advance of running this, and we are so nearly at my goal. So just before we get started, if any of you can spare any money at all to go towards this amazing cause, please do click the link down below. It all goes to an amazing cause and I need all the help that I can get to get around my 4 marathons in 4 days. I'm terrified, I really am. This week I'm going to be talking about what my taper is going to involve and talk about what tapering is, what it should involve, how long should a taper be, and some top tips as well that I have found through the years, and also top tips from people who know a hell of a lot more than me. Before we get started, I wanted to introduce you to this week's sponsor. This week's sponsor is Emma Mattress. Emma Mattress is an award-winning mattress company, and I've actually heard about them like ages ago. I see their ads on the tube, I hear people talking about them, and I've honestly been intrigued for so long. It wasn't until just over a week ago that I finally got to unravel my Emma mattress, put it to the test. Honestly, I am so impressed. I'm really picky with mattresses and I was being driven mad by the springs going in my last mattress every time I was trying to go to sleep. And if you guys know me, you will know I'm a massive advocate for sleep and sleeping well and really prioritizing rest as well. And then I was having this really horrible mattress, and finally I've managed to switch over to Emma and I am blown away by the quality of my sleep compared to how it was before. There are a few things that you can do that will improve your running more than getting good rest, and sleep is part of that, which is why I'm so passionate about sharing this with you. There's a lot of sleep technology and motion isolation technology that goes into making these mattresses, but I think the proof is in the pudding. You don't need to know about any of the technology to know that it really does help you sleep better. They also have a 200-night guarantee, so if you don't enjoy it, you can send it back, no problems. I know that I will not be doing that because I am such a fan, and my boyfriend as well, who is possibly the most fussy person ever when it comes to mattresses, loves it. So I think that is a surefire sign that most of you are going to completely obsess over this mattress like I am. They have free deliveries and returns and also a 10-year warranty, and they also work with One Tree Planted, so they've got a couple of things in there that make it more sustainable as well. You know it's going to last a really long time, and also a tree is planted for each purchase made. So if you guys want to check it out, they're currently hosting a May Day sale on their site which gives you 50% off by using my code, which I'm going to link below and put here as well. You can get 55% off their mattresses, which is an amazing discount. I know that you guys are going to absolutely adore it. It is so worth it, and they're really reasonably priced already as well. So with the 55% off, it is a no-brainer. And as we are going to find out in a minute, sleep is such an important part of race day prep and training, recovery, absolutely everything. Sleep is vital. So having the right mattress, having the right gear is really important. As you would with any trainers, with any bag, with any kit that you pay attention to, you really need to get the right mattress, duvets, etc, etc, that are going to help you sleep as well. Don't forget to check out the link below. Click on that. Let me know as well if you do have one of these mattresses already. Let me know what you think, because I would love to hear from you guys, and I'm sure everyone else would as well. Right, on to taper week. So for those of you who aren't entirely sure, tapering is essentially the reduction in the volume of your training to help you prep and feel prepared and sprightly for race day. It has a lot of components, but the main part of course is not running really hard right up to race day and starting race day tired. For most people this involves reducing the volume of their training but maintaining some sort of intensity, and that helps stop you feeling sluggish by the time you get around to race day. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the word paranoia. It's kind of the stress and paranoia you feel in the lead up to a marathon, and quite often that is due to feeling really sluggish and heavy and just gross in the lead up. I get this every single time, not just for marathons, but for every single race I do. The taper week is a bit of a sort of like it messes with your head. But by doing it right, you know that you're setting yourself right up for the race and you're going to start the race day feeling as refreshed as possible. Tapering gives your body and mind the chance to recover from all the hard training, many months of hard training that you've done to prepare for race day itself. It has loads of more intricate benefits, such as replenishing your glycogen stores in your muscles so that you start race day completely replenished, and also it reduces muscle fatigue and helps your muscles repair themselves as well. So by the time you get to race day, you are at tip-top peak form. Loads of things that I've read online have said that the length of a taper kind of varies depending on your personal preferences, but also the race that you're going to do. So if you're doing a 5k race, you might have a slightly shorter taper than if you're doing a marathon or an ultramarathon. Of course, if the taper is too long, then you risk losing fitness before race day. So if you're going above 2 weeks, you risk losing fitness. If the taper is too short, then you risk starting race day feeling a little bit tired and not at your peak. So for me, my taper is, well, I haven't actually done it very well, but it's kind of around 1.5 weeks. But within that time, I still have some really high intensity sessions. I still have my long runs, but just the overall volume of training is reduced. So rather than doing 55 kilometers in a week, I might be doing 35 kilometers in a week. Again, it's an art. It's not necessarily a science. Everyone responds to a taper differently. So what works for you might be a little bit different. The great thing about it is you can practice it each time you're going to go and race, and then you know sort of what works for you and what doesn't work, what might leave you feeling slightly sluggish or a little bit overtired. I prefer a slightly longer taper. I find that giving my body a chance to recover and relax leaves me set up for race day a little bit more prepared, rather than feeling really exhausted and like I'm overdoing it in the week leading up. So here are my top tips for tapering. I've written them down because I don't want to forget anything, but again, I would love to hear your guys' top tips so that if any of you are training for a race at the moment and struggling to know when to start tapering or what to do within your taper week, put them down below and you can read everyone else's comments as well, and hopefully that can help. So the first thing to remember is that you have done all your preparation. You're not going to gain any fitness, you're not going to gain any last minute benefits from trying to fit in some really quick training in the last week or two before your race. That includes things like doing new stretches that you might think might help, doing yoga that you've never done before, Pilates, getting a sports massage, all of these sorts of things that you think maybe you should have done in training. Don't do them in the taper week. It's not going to help you, and there's also a risk of getting injured. Just remember, you've done all your training, you've done the hard work, you've got to trust that and trust the process, as they say. Don't fit anything new into your taper week. You're probably going to regret it. At best, it's not going to really help anything. At worst, it could leave you injured or sore for race day. On the converse of that, a lot of people think that taper week should just be sleeping, resting, doing absolutely nothing. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that actually getting in some faster sessions and keeping the intensity of your sessions high in the week leading up to your race can be really beneficial and can help stop you feeling sluggish as well. I have certainly found this as well, although the sessions never go that well. I think actually keeping my legs turning over in that week leading up can be really beneficial. But again, nothing new, just continue doing what you were doing before at a reduced volume, but maintain that intensity. Sleep. I spoke about it in the intro, I'm going to speak about it again. Sleep is so important, especially if you are traveling or if you struggle with anxiety before a race, and I mean, who doesn't? If you can stockpile sleep in the week leading up to your race, you're going to start race day really well set up, especially if you're like me, you probably won't sleep very well in the day or two before your race, and I am traveling 2 days before Run for Love starts as well. So that means I'm going to be in a different time zone, a couple of hours different, meaning that I'm going to feel like I'm going to be waking up really early, and traveling makes me exhausted as well anyway. So this week and also last week, I've been really prioritizing sleep as much as I can, and that involves getting into bed earlier, not going on my phone right before bed, not watching TV right up until I'm supposed to be sleeping, not binge watching series because I've got a little bit of extra time and I don't have training the next morning. I'm being really sensible with it, and I have found that makes such a big difference. The difference between me getting 7 hours and 8 hours of sleep a night is, I mean, I'm a different human being. Whether you don't sleep very well anyway, or whether you already sleep really well, I think stockpiling sleep in the week before your race can be really, really beneficial, especially if you're not going to be sleeping the day or two before. 48 hours out from your race, you can start the carb load. Again, this is one that is kind of a bit to do with personal preference. If you reduce your volume of training, chances are you won't need quite as much food, but that doesn't mean you should reduce hugely the amount you eat. In fact, having a bit of a carb load in the 48 hours before your race means that your glycogen stores in your muscles are properly fueled, properly pumped up, and that means that on your race day you can perform to the best of your ability. I personally love to eat. So having extra carbs in the lead up to my race is not an issue for me. But that doesn't mean that you should be having an excessive amount of food. That might make you feel really kind of tired and blah. And as much for your brain as actually for the race itself, I don't think it's very good to overeat in the lead up. So that's one to balance. You probably will know if you've done any races before what works for you, what doesn't work for you. But the carb load is, I have to say, probably one of my favourite parts of the taper, and I do it properly. I do take it seriously. I love my carbs. I just eat all of them, but you gotta be a bit sensible. One thing that I think a lot of people forget is hydration. People are very good at remembering to keep hydrated on a race, sometimes overly so, but actually your hydration should start several days before your race, especially if you're traveling to a race. You might forget to drink, you might not have as much access to water, you might not be as hydrated as you would otherwise be. So for me, I tend to drink electrolytes in the couple of days before, because hyponatremia, which is basically drinking too much water without the addition of salts, is a real issue, especially with people running marathons who feel like they need to be taking on a huge amount of water. So having salts in your water in the lead up to your race is a good way of stopping yourself getting dehydrated. If you're traveling, airplanes are just like the worst for feeling dehydrated and getting dehydrated. So make sure you have a giant bottle of water topped up, even with electrolytes, so that when you're traveling, you're not getting dehydrated. I have got my hydration strategy down to a T, especially when traveling, because the whole thing just like leaches moisture from me. I absolutely hate it. So yeah, really, really important to stay hydrated. And that means that on the day of the race, you won't have to be glugging liters of water before you start and then need the loo almost immediately as soon as you set off, which is obviously a very frustrating thing to happen. One of the most important things I think to do in taper week is to prepare everything. Prepare it physically and also prepare it up here. If you know which kit you're wearing, which shoes you're wearing, which socks, down to which pants you're wearing, which underwear, you know that you're going to start race day really well prepared and with everything set out in front of you. You're not going to be like running around trying to think of what you're going to wear. I mean, if you do lots of early morning runs, all this kind of stuff, you'll probably be very well practiced at getting everything out, getting everything prepared in time for your morning runs. It's much the same with racing, except I would do it several days out so that if there is anything that you desperately need to go and get, for example, blister plasters, if you're doing an ultramarathon, then you have the time to go and do that. I am a bit of a sucker for a last minute packing panic. This year, I'm gonna try not to do that. So it is early in the week, I am heading out to Croatia. At the end of this week, I'm gonna start packing tomorrow, which means that if there is anything that I'm missing, I'm not going to be panicking about it the day that I'm supposed to be traveling, trying to go to various different shops, trying to get all the stuff that I need. And that is as much, like I say, for your brain as for your actual physical preparation. Because going back to the sleep thing, if you're stressing about the things that you don't have, you're not going to be relaxed and able to sleep and rest as much as you otherwise would. So prep everything, prep all your kit, prep your timings, know when the race is going to start, know where you're going to park, know how you're going to get there, know when you're going to arrive, know where you're going to warm up, all of this stuff. I think this comes with experience and I am really bad at getting it right. I think I leave everything to the last minute because I want to maintain as much calm as possible in the lead up, but it does mean that by the time I get to race day, by the time I get to the start line, I'm like, everything's so stressful. So I'm trying not to do that this year. I'm trying to actually be really prepared, and I have to say taking a flight somewhere does mean that you have to prep better than if you are literally just rocking up somewhere and doing the run. So fingers crossed this year it all goes to plan. So that is it for my taper week plans. I am going to be going out for a run today, going to be going and doing an upper body gym session. I will be missing my lower body gym session this week so that by the time I get around to next week my legs are fully recovered. I have done all the work that I can do, and although this race is a little bit difficult to prepare for because it's technically sort of part of training as well for my 50 miler, I want to make sure that I am actually showing up as fresh and recovered as I possibly can. So I'm not doing just a mini taper, I'm doing a full taper for this race, or run rather, so that I give myself the maximum chance of being able to complete my 4 marathons in 4 days. It's terrifying to say, and looking at the elevation profiles, it is wild. There will be lots of walking. Day 1, 40 kilometers approximately, 2,271 meters. That is the height of the Shard 7 times. I have never run a race or a run that hilly, I don't think. Possibly actually Yeah, okay, so I have run much shorter runs and races that are that hilly, but I've never done that distance with that elevation as well. I think probably the hilliest I've done is a couple of 100 meters below that. Day 2, 35 kilometers with 1,130 meters of elevation gain. Then it gets even harder, 45 kilometers on day 3 with 3,035 meters of elevation gain. That day I will bet will be the toughest for me. After 2 days of nearly marathons with a lot of elevation, we are then doing more than a marathon with even more elevation on day 3. Yikes is all I can say. And then day 4, while the others continue on to do 77 kilometers that day, I have to get back to the UK shortly after that, so I'm doing 48 kilometers, which should take me to 4 marathons in 4 days upon my original maths. Basically, I'm gonna top up whatever mileage I've done to equal 168 kilometers if I can, and that has just over 1,000 meters of elevation gain. So that day is likely to be very slow, especially because most of the other people running it will be doing nearly 80 kilometers in that one day. Yeah, wish me luck. By the time you watch this, I will already be out in Croatia, giving it my best shot and just basically having a good time and trying to raise as much money as I can. Like I said, if you can donate anything, I will put the Just Giving link down below. You can still donate while I'm out there, and hopefully by this point I will have hit my £3,000 goal, but if not, you guys will hopefully get me there. And of course, don't forget to check out Emma Mattress. Honestly, I'm so impressed. I don't know why I didn't get one of their mattresses sooner, and it is a godsend. I have been sleeping honestly so well and not being woken up to the sound of springs just sort of creaking in the middle of the night, which is a godsend for me. I have my discount code. You're not gonna get a better offer, so go and click that link there and get hold of it. Don't forget that there is that 200-day no problems return sort of guarantee. So if you don't like it, you can just send it back. They have free delivery and free returns, so you're in for a treat. That is it for this week's vlog. Please do hit the thumbs up button and the subscribe button. Don't forget to leave your taper suggestions and advice down below. Come and follow me over on Instagram, where I'll be sharing as much of the Run for Love 4 as I possibly can on there and keeping you all up to date on there. And of course I will be vlogging it, so that will be likely my next vlog to come out. That is it for this week, and thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!